let's just cut to a chase. You guys, you just want to look awesome. You do not go into the gym to become a champion in powerlifting or weightlifting or even bodybuilding. No, you're not doing these specific things. You probably just want to look better, to look sexier, to look stronger, healthier. And the gym is for you this means that you have to achieve this cosmetic aspect. In this video, I'm going to help you exactly have this roadmap clear for you and make you understand what you need to work and focus upon. Let's go. Looking powerful is not just about being the biggest, it's about proportion. It's about engineering physique that turns head without saying a word. But first, we need to agree upon the geometry and the mathematics of aesthetic. From the Greek statues to Steve Reeves to modern natural pros, the ideal male ratio sits around a 1.68 shoulder to waist measurement, which is the golden ratio. Basically, you measure your waist and then you measure your shoulder. And your shoulder needs to be 1.68 times bigger than your waist. This is what will ensure you have the framework to have an aesthetic physique. Because before anything else, it starts out with a structure, with how your torso is looking. And you need that V-taper, which is considered both a marker of beauty, strength, and for female, sexiness. The second thing that you will need to do and ensure to really emphasize as good as possible your looks and your cosmetic aspect via muscle building is to be lean, but not too lean. As low as 8 and as high as 15% with an average margin of 10 to 12% is going to be your goal. That way, you're not too fat to hide away your muscle definition, but at the same time, you will still be extremely healthy and have a great endocrine system to make sure that your body is properly functioning, to have everything with the sex hormone, the fertility hormone, the strength, the recovery, everything basically to be still tapered in. And that way you have this perfect balance of looking great, but not actually being too impacted and even damaged by this leanness level. Because this needs to be sustainable. It needs to be enjoyable for you. Because remember, you're doing all of this to improve your quality of life, not wreck it. So 8 as low, 15 as high, 10 to 12 right in the middle for you to make sure to have low body fat, look amazing, whatever if you have a shirt on or shirt off, but not being at risk health-wise. Now that we got that out of the way, we are going to talk about how to enhance that V-frame, that shape. There are quite a few muscles, but for most of us, it is quite simple. We have the deltoids, we have lats, we have the arms, and we have the upper chest. These 4 muscles are basically all you need to develop or at least focus upon to really enhance that V-frame. Because the bigger your delts are, the wider you will be at the top of your torso. The wider your lats are, the more you will enhance that V-taper visual effect. And the bigger your arms are, and the more, relatively speaking, looking your waist will appear smaller, while your members, your limbs will appear bigger. And for the upper chest, it's about getting a look of a square, wide chest, which is visually more impressive than a big, massive, but saggy chest. And as for the legs, it's not that as relevant for male as upper body, but basically a pair of athletic legs with a good ratio of quads, hamstring, calves, but also glutes will be important without any real specific size thing. There is one thing that we can note also as a following step, and that is to keep balance. Because if you are too wide with a tiny waist, it's going to look odd, uncanny. But on the reverse, if you have too big arms, small shoulder, but still have this V-frame, might look for some people extremely attractive or at least impressive. But the further away you go from something that is considered balanced and normal, the more it's going to be a problem to actually have a desirable physique, because it's all about, again, respecting the structure and balancing everything else. Speaking of that, the next rule that I have for you after this golden ratio is to listen to Steve Reeves. Steve Reeves was a silver era athlete and even legend over 40s and 50s, decided and wrote about in his book that for him, what was really important to carry through balance-wise was to have the same exact measurement, more or less, for the neck, the arms, and the calves. So if you measure the three of them and one is considerably bigger than the other, you need to make sure that the two other catch up to it. And this ensures that you do not end up with massive arm, a tiny neck, and tiny calves, or on the reverse, ultra humongous calf, but skinny arm and skinny neck. Or even another case scenario, if you did a lot of combat sport, for example, or a lot of contact sport, you have the huge, big, thick neck, but you do not have much arm, and for your calves, it's meh. Make sure that you keep a balance of both the body as a whole, but also about keeping the distal members, so the arms and the legs, and especially the calves that are very far away from the core area of your body, which is right in the middle, making sure that there is still balance there. And as for the neck, we already saw in previous videos that it is key to be a marker of strength, of health, but also to highlight the rest of the body, because a skinny neck is not good enough, and a big, thick neck is almost never, visually speaking, a disadvantage. So when you're training, you need to make sure to be extremely focused, or at least biased toward all the muscle we just spoke about, so prioritizing incline pressing and OHP compared to flat bench. You need to make sure to have weighted chin-up, to have rows who target your lats correctly. If it's not rows, it needs to be vertical pulling. And as for your arm, you need to make sure to isolate them. There aren't many of you guys that will be able to get away with no isolation arm-wise to have them thoroughly developed. And as for the neck and the calves, yes, if needed, you will need to work them and to isolate them. For most of you, it can just be neck flexion and neck extension. And as for calves, just do them donkey calf style or seated or standing, whatever, just do them. Truly. You know who you are.
You got me.
Okay, now that you know all of that, you might be wondering, well, where do we start? Well, that's the thing. You cannot do everything at the same time, except if you're a beginner. But you need to have specialization phase. So let's just put that bluntly. For a few weeks or a few months, you will focus exclusively onto your delt and onto your lats. Okay, so you will prioritize OHP, incline, weighted pull-ups, for example, and you will make sure to really get stronger and stronger onto these specific movement, these key lift, to get bigger and bigger. Because yes, strength is what you need to seek to ensure that you have proper mechanical tension or mechanical load via the weight that you're using, and this progressive overload will yield to much more tension and thus muscle. So if you go from one plate incline pressing to two plate incline pressing, there is just no way for your body to not grow bigger, delt, upper chest, and triceps. So if you go from doing weighted pull-up, let's say 2 plate to 3 plate, same thing. If you go from 1 plate OHP to 1.5 plate for OHP, same thing. So for a few weeks, you need to work on that specifically. Then you need to do maybe a little more chest and a little more arms. So you need to focus a bit more, for example, on weighted dips that will build your chest and your triceps. And you will also need to make sure to do your curls and to maybe swap the weighted pull-up for a weighted chin-up, neutral grip or supinated grip. Because even though it is a big movement for the back, it will also be quite good for the elbow flexors. So not just the biceps, but the brachialis and also the brachioradialis right there. All of that will make you able to cycle through angles, joint fatigue, and nervous system involvement into different specific movements that all kind of work together, but without being too specific to each other. Case in point, if you go extremely hard on OHP and then for a few weeks you just put it at the second or third exercise and at the start you put an incline press, for example, or a dip, you're still going to have some kind of virtuous cycle effect with all these movements actually having some carry over between each other, but without hindering too much onto the joint recovery, the nervous system recovery, and even your training enjoyment. Last but not least, let's say for a phase 3, you need to catch up on a few specific muscle. Let's just say your delt did not grow as much as you wanted. Let's just say your triceps is doing fine, but your biceps is still some work. This phase 3 would be something that you will need to do to make sure to balance out everything that you're doing currently. So as you can see, it's quite simple, but maybe not that easy. So if you need help with that, I'm a personal trainer. You can check out my services, my coaching, but also my ebooks. Other than that, you also need to apply this to your personalized situation. Hence why I'm telling you about my coaching. This is very personalized and you will not have the exact same problem as another guy watching this video currently. Or at least is going to be extra rare. So what you need to do is to keep yourself honest via measurement and weight progression. You need to tape in, you need to track everything. For example, if your waist is a 78 centimeter, which is quite normal for most guys, or 31 inches, and your shoulder measurement is 120 centimeter, you need to work on it. You are a few inches short to a real good golden ratio. You need to get about 4 inches or 10 centimeter more of width over there, so shoulder, chest, and also upper back, so traps, lats, teres major, to achieve this specific golden ratio. Now, for the neck and arm and calves, let's just say your arms are 41 centimeter, your neck is about the same, but your calves are 45, you have huge calves. Well, you know that you do not necessarily need to work on them, but actually need to play catch up with both your neck and your arms for about 4 centimeters or almost 2 inches. You see, this is how you can make sure that you're doing right. Now, there will be a conundrum about arm size, because if you look at the recommendations that Reeves, for example, had regarding the same size, he also made a chart with measuring with your own body structure, especially with bone parts, so wrist and ankle, the rest of the body proportion. And you think that it is actually smart, and that is. But the problem is that, for example, well, for arms, there is this wrist size that is supposed to be 2.5 times bigger, and that can be quite humongous for most of us, and actually even through a bit of this idea of proportion. So I think personally that for arm size we have to come to an understanding. Okay, we have to compromise. I'd say that it is also relative toward your height. Let me give you an example. Let's just say you are 170 centimeter, okay? So 5'7", and you have 16 inches arms, so 41.5 centimeter arms. This will look quite nice, okay? This is like a pretty good arm. Now imagine you are 6'2" or 188 centimeter. You still have this 41.5 arm. It's going to look scrawny, right? But then if you take the same 170 centimeter guy, okay, and now he has 18 inches arm, 46 centimeter, this is going to be fucking humongous. This is going to be enormous. While the other guy, who is 188 centimeter, you give him this 18 inches arm, and it's like, oh, you work out. You're doing some pull-up, you're going to do some push-ups, right? You see, it's quite different because of his size aspect. I think that this is much more relatively achievable and also understandable to look awesome, to look like you're doing some gyms, that you're active, that you are physically someone that is well built and that is actually thorough with his health and his life as a whole, but without being too much of that possible meathead look of that guy that is only about bodybuilding and that does not know much or doesn't do much actually outside of the gym in his life. Because you have to remember, you need to look great, but you do not need to look freakish. That's the key to actually enjoy your life, having a balance between what you do in the gym and what you do outside, but also for your own mental clarity and health. So this video is now over. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this whole concept of looking awesome makes sense to you. I really hope that it helped you with your own goals and even to set out maybe different aspects of your training. And if you want to see more videos, well, please subscribe. Let me know what you think about it in the comment down below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you very soon for another video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.